There's an unspoken list every mechanic has. The 5 Now, a greasable ball joint from Moog or AC Delco Advantage costs roughly the same to buy, sometimes less. Moog Problem Solver ball joints run $35 to $75 per unit depending on application. The difference is a small zerk fitting on the joint. Every oil change, you hit it with 3 pumps from a grease gun. Takes 30 seconds, costs about $2 in grease. And that ball joint doesn't dry out. The bearing surface stays lubricated. You get 2 to 3 times the lifespan of a sealed joint, sometimes more. I talked to a shop foreman in Houston who runs a fleet of 12 Silverados. He switched every truck to greasable ball joints in 2022. 4 years later, not a single replacement. Before that, he was swapping sealed ball joints every 18 months on trucks running highway miles in Texas heat. 12 trucks, 2 ball joints per side, twice a year. Do that math. He told me the greasable swap paid for itself before the end of the first year. Walk into any shop that works on GM trucks. Look at the mechanic's personal truck in the back of the lot. Greasable ball joints, every single time. Not because it's exciting, not because it looks cool, because it's the last ball joint they'll ever install on that truck. The upgrade you can't see, can't hear, and can't show off. And it's the one your truck needs most. But this next one protects a component that's even more expensive to replace. And most owners don't even know it's running hot right now. The second goldmine is the one that separates trucks that last from trucks that end up in the shop with a 4-figure bill, an external transmission cooler. Every GM truck has a transmission cooler from the factory. It's built into the radiator, a small heat exchanger that shares space with your engine coolant. For daily driving, commuting, errands, highway cruising, it works fine. Keeps transmission fluid somewhere in the 180 to 200 degree range, and that's where you want it. But here's what nobody talks about. The moment you add load, a trailer, a bed full of gravel, 5 passengers and luggage, or just driving through the South in July, that factory cooler falls behind. Transmission fluid temperature climbs past 220, 240, sometimes 260 under sustained load. And there's a rule in transmission engineering that most owners have never heard. Every 20 degrees over 200 cuts your fluid life in half. Let me say that again. Every 20 degrees over 200, half the life. A truck towing at 240 isn't just warm, it's destroying its fluid 4 times faster than normal. And once that fluid breaks down, the clutch pack starts slipping, the valve body gets sticky, and the shift quality you adapted to without noticing, that's not normal wear. That's transmission damage in slow motion. An external transmission cooler from brands like Hayden, Derail, B, and M, or PPE, mounts a standalone heat exchanger in front of your AC condenser, completely separate from the radiator. drops operating temps 20 to 40 degrees under load. A quality universal kit runs $100 to $175 for the cooler itself. Installed, including lines and hardware, you're looking at $150 to $350 total, depending on whether a shop does it or you do it yourself on a Saturday. Now here's the math that makes this a gold mine. A transmission rebuild on a 6L80 runs $2,500 to $4,000. On an 8L90 or 10L80, $3,500 to $5,000 or more. The cooler costs less than 10% of the cheapest rebuild. That's not an upgrade. That's insurance. And it gets worse for specific trucks. Any leveled or lifted GMC has higher aerodynamic drag, which means the engine and transmission work harder at highway speed. More work means more heat. I've seen 8L90 trucks leveled 2 inches hit 250 on a flat highway pulling a 5,000-pound trailer. No warning light, no gauge on most models, just silent damage mile after mile until one day the truck won't shift out a second. Stay with me here. Every mechanic who tows with a personal truck has an external cooler before shocks, before exhaust, before anything cosmetic, because they've rebuilt enough transmissions to know what heat does, and they've priced the repair. The cheapest insurance your transmission will ever get. And this next one costs even less, and most GM owners don't even realize their truck is missing a basic feature because of it. The third gold mine might be the most overlooked upgrade in the entire GM truck world: a heavy-duty differential cover. Your factory diff cover is stamped steel, thin, minimal fluid capacity. It does the bare minimum. And on most GM trucks, here's the part that surprises people: there's no drain plug. To change your differential fluid, you have to unbolt the entire cover, let the gear oil pour out everywhere, scrape the old gasket off, reseal it, and bolt the whole thing back together. It's messy, it's annoying, and because it's such a hassle, most owners just skip it. That's the real problem, not the cover itself, the behavior it creates. When changing diff fluid feels like a project, it doesn't get done. And differential fluid that's been sitting in there for 100,000 miles is barely doing its job. It's broken down, contaminated with microscopic metal particles from the ring and pinion, and running hotter than it should be. A heavy-duty aftermarket cover changes everything. You've got Mag High-Tech on the high end at $300 to $320, a RB and PPE in the middle, and solid cast aluminum options for $80 to $150. All of them do the same basic things: thicker construction, 30 to 50% more fluid capacity, cooling fins on the outside, and this is the important part: a drain plug, a simple, threaded drain plug that turns a 45-minute mess into a 5-minute fluid swap. Now, I know what you're thinking. Does this actually make a difference? Here's what more fluid and cooling fins do. Under towing load, your rear differential temperature can exceed 250 with a factory-stamped cover. An HD cover with more fluid and fins keeps temps 15 to 25 degrees cooler. That's the difference between gear oil lasting 50,000 miles and lasting well over 100,000. And the drain plug means you actually change the fluid on schedule instead of putting it off until something starts whining. I'm not done yet. A rear differential rebuild, ring and pinion, bearings, seals, labor, runs $1,700 to over $3,000 at a dealer. The ring and pinion set alone can run $600 to $1,200 before anyone picks up a wrench. Look underneath any well-maintained shop truck. You'll see an HD diff cover on the rear, sometimes the front too. It's one of the first things a mechanic installs, not because it's impressive, because it costs less than an oil change and protects one of the most expensive driveline components on the truck. $80 to protect a $2,000 differential. The math does itself. Quick thing: if these are the kind of upgrades you didn't know you needed, hit subscribe. I break down what's actually worth your money every single week. No fluff, no sponsored junk, just the stuff that protects your truck and saves you thousands. That's the whole channel. Now, the next two gold mines on this list aren't about protecting a mechanical component. They're about daily driving, quality of life, safety, and capability. And the first one might be the most important upgrade on this entire list, because it's the only one that could save your life. If you're driving a GMT 900 or an early K2XX with the factory halogen headlights, I need you to hear this. Your headlights are bad, not just dim, not just aging, genuinely, measurably bad. Low light output, narrow beam pattern, and if your truck is more than 5 or 6 years old, the lenses have yellowed and hazed to the point where you're losing 30 to 40% of whatever light you had left. And here's the problem. You don't notice it. Headlight degradation is gradual. Your eyes adapt. You lean forward a little more at night. You slow down on dark roads. You've adjusted your entire driving behavior around bad visibility without ever realizing it. Now, I already know what some of you are thinking. Just throw some LED bulbs in there. No, stop. This is where 90% of owners get it wrong and give up on the whole upgrade. Those $30 Amazon LED bulbs that drop into your factory halogen housing, they don't work correctly. The reflector housing is designed for a halogen filament, which is a point source of light. An LED chip sits in a different position and emits light differently. Drop it into a reflector designed for halogen and the beam scatters everywhere. You blind oncoming traffic. You light up trees and sky. And your actual forward visibility often gets worse because the light isn't focused where you need it. The right way, the mechanic way, is a proper retrofit. That means either projector-style LED bulbs specifically engineered for your housing, brands like Morimoto or Diode Dynamics, or full LED headlight assemblies from Alpharex or Morimoto with correct optics built in. Quality bulb upgrades run $150 to $250 for a set. Full assemblies start around $400 and go up from there, depending on your platform and what you want. Let me be clear, for most owners, the bulb upgrade is the Goldmine. $150 to $250 for double or triple the light output with a correct beam pattern. Night driving goes from tense and uncertain to clear and comfortable. You see deer at the edge of the road. You see lane markings in rain. You see that pothole or road debris with enough time to actually react instead of brace. This is the only upgrade on this list that could literally save your life. Every other Goldmine protects a component. This one protects you. A $200 headlight upgrade on a truck you drive at night 3 or 4 times a week. That's not optional. That's overdue. Every mechanic who daily drives a GMT 900 or K2XX has upgraded headlights. It's the first quality of life change they make. Not shocks, not exhaust, headlights. Because they drive home at night after 12-hour shifts and they know what they can't see will hurt them. You upgraded your exhaust to sound better. When are you going to upgrade your headlights to see better? And the last Goldmine on this list is the one that changes what your truck can actually do. Not what it looks like, what it can handle. The fifth and final Goldmine, and the one I get the most questions about once people discover it, is rear air helper springs, Firestone Ride Right, Airlift Load Lifter, Hellwig. These are airbags, adjustable air springs that install inside your rear coil springs or alongside your rear leaf springs depending on your platform, and they fundamentally change how your truck handles weight. Here's how they work. You inflate them with a standard air fitting anywhere from 5 to 100 psi based on how much weight you're carrying. Towing a 5,000-pound trailer? Pump them up to 60 or 70 psi. Hauling a bed loaded with concrete or mulch? Same idea. Running empty on a Sunday? Drop them back to 5 psi and the ride quality stays completely stopped. Here's the thing. Without them, the moment you load your truck, the rear sags 2 to 3 inches. The front end lifts. Your headlights point at the sky, blinding oncoming drivers and illuminating nothing in front of you. Your front tires lose weight, so steering feels light and vague. Braking distance increases because the weight balance is wrong. And if you're pulling a trailer, the hitch point drops below level, which increases trailer sway. That's not just uncomfortable, that's a safety problem. With air helpers inflated to the right pressure, the truck stays level. All 4 tires carry appropriate weight. The trailer tows flat and stable. Braking is predictable. Steering stays planted. You're driving the same truck, it just handles the load the way it was supposed to. And here's what makes this a Goldmine. A complete kit. Bags, brackets, fittings, all hardware. Runs $250 to $450 for GMT 900 and K2XX trucks. Newer T1XX platforms are a bit more, around $500 to $600 for the full kit. For that money, your half-ton handles 5,000 pounds, like most stock trucks handle 3,000. You're not changing the payload sticker. You're making the capacity you already have actually usable, comfortable, and safe. And if you want to skip crawling under the truck with a Schrader valve every time, wireless compressor kits run another $150 to $250. Adjust pressure from your phone. Pull into the boat ramp, tap the screen, bags inflate, back the trailer in. That's a convenience upgrade worth every dollar. I talked to a guy in Tennessee who tows a 22-foot bass boat every other weekend. He ran without airbags for 2 years. Constant sag, squirrely steering on the highway, white knuckles every time a semi passed. Put a $300 airlift kit on a Saturday morning. Called me that evening and said it felt like a completely different truck. Same trailer, same weight, half the stress. If you tow anything more than a couple times a year, a boat, a camper, a car hauler, a loaded utility trailer, air helper springs are the single best value upgrade for towing confidence and safety. Nothing else at this price point comes close. 5 upgrades, all under $500. Not one of them is loud, shiny, or designed to impress anyone in a parking lot, but every single one either protects a component that costs thousands to replace or makes your truck safer and more capable every single day. That's the pattern. The best upgrades aren't the ones everyone's posting about. They're the ones mechanics install when nobody's watching. No affiliate deals, no sponsorship logos, just the stuff that works. If you want to see the upgrades everyone does talk about and which ones are worth it, watch 3 worst and 4 best GMC upgrades you can buy. That's the companion video to this one and covers everything from intakes to catch cans. And if you want the full long-term ownership plan, watch How to Make Your GMC Last Over 300,000 Miles. That one ties everything together. Nobody talks about grease fittings and diff covers because there's no money in it. Now you know why your mechanic doesn't care. Thanks for watching. I'll see you in the next one.